Sandy Cesaire.
Absolutely. Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, so basically, my job here tonight is to show you how to make money in real estate so you can pay off those debts, okay? All right, so just by a show of hands, anybody here are real estate investors? Yeah? Okay. All right, great. Okay, so basically, I'm going to teach you some powerful strategies, 4 different powerful strategies that you can use in real estate, because there's 4 ways that you really can use to make money in real estate, right? And that is, there's wholesaling, there's landlording, there's private lending, and then there's rehab retail. But there's a lot of different strategies, but they all just basically fall under one of those, Okay, so basically, I know when Jen first started, she asked you guys, how many guys in here have debts?
Yeah.
Show of hands. Yeah? You? Come here for a second.
What's the question?
Yeah. Okay, so close your eyes for a second and just think, if there was one debt you could eliminate, just one, you can just snap your fingers and get rid of it, which would it be and why?
Student loan.
Okay. Thank you. You can have a seat. Here's a gift for you. So the reason why I had her, come up here is basically, I asked you guys the question, but then she actually came up here is for me to say something about opportunity. Okay? See, in life, we get opportunities all the time. And when opportunity knocks, you have 1 or 2 choices. You can sit down and not do anything about it, or you can take action. She took action, she came up here, okay? So here's the thing. In my life, it's always been a series of ups and downs. Ups and downs, and sometimes sideways, right? And so what happens is, after every down, there's an opportunity that's knocking at your door that's trying to help you get back up. Okay? A little bit about my background. My family is from Haiti. I was born in Haiti. I came here as a very, very young child. Okay? And so when I was 6 years old, my parents, they moved to America. When they moved to America, I thought, okay, we're rich. You grew up poor, you in Haiti. I always hear these good stories. Like literally, we used to be told stories about, walking on gold. There's diamonds everywhere. So I thought we were rich, okay? But then what my mama would do, she would send us bags of Cheetos. Me and my sister would take the Cheetos, right? We would take the Cheetos, we'd separate them into little bags, and then we'd go off and then we'll sell it to make some money. And that's when I started falling in love with money. I always loved money since I was a kid. I love money so much. My older sister, she's always telling me this story. I actually don't remember it. But she says, like, if I would have $1, somebody gave me some money, she would give me 2 coins, not even 50 cents, but it was 2 coins. And she said, see, you have more. So I'd be like, yeah, now I have 2 money. So the thing is, when you think about that, you think about quality versus quantity, value. And what happens is, a lot of us, we grow up, we don't learn the value of money, We don't learn the value of it. And so we misuse it, we abuse it. And so when I came to this country at the age of 9 years old, found my parents working all day long, basically, all day long, packing corns. I grew up in the Everglades. So cornfield, sugarcane field, working for 10 cents per box, just slaving all day, not even making $20 for that entire day. I mean, you just think as a child, well, this is not the way I want to grow up. This is not the way to live, And so I think a lot of those things is what strike that entrepreneurial fire inside of me. And so when I got started in real estate, fast forward, I moved to Tampa. I didn't know nothing about real estate. I didn't even know what real estate was. So at 18 years old, I moved to Tampa. I go to take the real estate class, and I couldn't finish it because I was short $45. I was on the payment plan. I needed $45. I didn't have it. So I said, okay, forget it. Fast forward in 2002, a few years later, I don't remember how I got the $245 that it took, but I was like, here's your money all at once. Just take it. And then I took the class, got my license, but I had no clue. I didn't know anything about real estate because I never knew anybody in real estate, never knew anybody in real estate. So, but what I did do was, in my mind, I thought there was an opportunity there. I had seen some late night infomercials. Yeah, I know those. Yeah, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, there's an opportunity there somewhere. If I can learn it, then maybe I can do something, And so took the class, started working for ERA, and I had my cards everywhere. Like I used to be, you ever met people that's like in your face? It's like, here's my card. So I would go to the bar, here's my card, One lady looked at me weird one time, like, really? But guess what? When you're taking a chance on yourself and you're taking a chance to do whatever it is that you want to do, sometimes you're going to do stuff people are going to look at you like you're crazy, But you still have to take a chance, And so somebody found my card, and this guy was working at a mortgage company, and he said, Sandy, you need to come on the mortgage side. I'm thinking, why? I just got here. I don't even know what I'm doing here, right? So, but he kept bugging me about it until I said, I was like, okay, fine. So literally just a few months later, I'm doing mortgages and he's teaching me how it works. And I'm like, dude, I really don't know what you're talking about, But then a month of that, I went to another office and I didn't realize how much information I had actually retained from all the yelling at me, And so I'm at this other office and then I'm now learning how financing works. I said, oh, that's how it happens. I said, boom, I can start buying my own houses, right? So what's the a lot of the big problem to people about real estate? What is it? When it comes to buying properties, what do you think is the biggest problem for people? Yeah, I think they need money, right? Partly true. There's something called leverage, right? But let's get back to the money. Okay, so in my mind, because I hadn't learned the real estate investing side yet still, So in my mind, okay, I know how to get the money now, so I need to buy properties. And then I'm looking like, okay, Sandy, well, you have a problem because, when you're in college and they had all those little credit card tables and they're giving free t-shirts, well, I did probably too many of those. And I was like, well, that's going to be a problem, okay? And so, thankfully, through that, I met real estate investors that said, okay, start going to your real estate investing meetings, and I did that. Because when you first get into any arena, what you have to do, you have to learn about it. You have to learn. And then you have to put yourself around people that can teach you, that can be a mentor to you, right? And so, I went into the real estate investing meeting. I met some investors, and then I met one particular investor that kind of took me under his wings, and he had a portfolio full of properties, and he wanted to get rid of some of them. My light bulb went up again. Opportunity, I said, okay, I heard about the no money down, but now I had just a little bit more experience because I was doing, I was getting some experience in the mortgage office. You know what I mean? And so I worked out a deal. I bought 10 properties from him. I rented them out Section 8. Okay? Now, I wasn't all that experienced, but I figured, okay, so I have a few people in my circle now that can at least guide me in the right direction, right? Okay. So I did that, but here's the thing. He then introduced me to more people, to more investors who I ended up buying more properties from. And then I started doing rehabbing, okay? And so those are some of the things that I want to talk to you about tonight to put some money in your pocket. Right? So when you're getting started in real estate, everybody's situation I know here is different. You all are starting from different places in your life. Some of you have more time than others. Some of you might have 20 hours a week to dedicate to a real estate business, and some of you probably don't have no time at all. You have different responsibilities. You have different money. So that's why I want to cover at least, we don't have a lot of time tonight, so I'm just going to go briefly through all of them, but I will at least give you an idea of what you can do, okay? So when it comes to wholesaling, first of all, let's talk about that, right? What's your name again?
Tammy.
Tammy. Okay. Say, Tammy has a house for sale, right? Danette called Tammy, and you go, okay, I saw a sign in front of your house for sale or in the online or wherever, okay? And then you said, why are you selling your house? I'm interested in buying it. Well, you're probably not going to say why because you haven't learned to do that yet, right? But you always want to ask that when, you want to know the person's situation, okay? And I'll tell you why. So you see that her house is up for sale, then you call her. You want to know the situation. You want to know the price. You want to know something about the house, okay? And then she says, well, I'm getting a divorce, and she can't wait to get away from this man, right? So she has to sell that property. That's the only thing standing in their way right now, right? And so let's say her house is worth $100,000 for the sake of easy numbers, Well, she is so desperate to get out of the situation that she's in, She wants to get rid of that house as fast as she wants to get rid of that man. So if her house is worth $100,000, right? If her house is worth $100,000 and she's trying to close on that house like yesterday because she's ready to move on, do you think she's going to take less than that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we call a motivated seller, right? So in the investing arena, and to me, really, it's not just wholesale. You always want to look for the opportunity, and you always want to get a property where it has equity. Now, there are other strategies, yes, but we're not going to talk about that right now, okay? So basically, a lot of your sellers, you want them to be the one they're eager to get rid of their houses, basically, because that's how you find your deal. How can you find these houses? Simple. They're everywhere. You can drive around. You see those illegal signs that's everywhere? Yes. Except when it's the politicians, right? They can put stuff everywhere, and that's okay. Yeah. So those signs you can use to buy houses, and you can use them to sell houses. After the market crashed, I had to start all over again from scratch. Guess what I did? I was driving around. That one little sign called a seller, he was out of town and he wanted to sell that house so bad in St. Pete. And then there's one question you always want to ask when you're out looking at properties and you call a homeowner or a seller. You know what you ask them? Do you have any more properties that you want to get rid of? That man said, yes, I do. And I said, hallelujah. And he had like 3 properties, like seriously, like he had 3 more properties. So I bought 4 properties from this guy, and within 2 weeks I made 20 grand. Okay, so I got a couple of wholesaling checks here from some wholesale deals that I believe I'll pass them around. You can pass them around. Okay, so those are just what you can do with, those are things that you can do with wholesaling. Now, I can go into more detail, but we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. So, being a tenant and being a landlord, okay? Now, if you're looking for, your wealth building strategies, but I don't want to put some magical la-la thing in your guys' head, okay? Because the reality is, landlording can be tricky and it can be a pain in the butt. So you got to be ready for it. So again, when people are giving you advice about what you should do and how you should do it, you need to be really honest about your own situation. You need to be honest about your temperament. And you need to be honest about what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. You see what I'm saying? You can still be a landlord. You can still own that property, but you don't have to be as hands-on if you don't want to. Okay? So when it comes to buying a property and you want to hold on to it for a few years, you can do that for 2 reasons. You can, if you want to create cash flow, you want that extra $500 per month, you can do that. And some people, they'll buy a property where the cash flow might be, the margin is not that much really, but they might be buying for longer term and capital gains and things like that. And those type of properties are typically, they're going to be in your better neighborhood. That's just to be honest with you, you know. So you're not going to go into a property where it's predominantly, occupied by tenants. You know, you're not looking at those type of properties for longer term capital gain, you know, except for, the crazy areas. Stuff was just everywhere, right? Okay. So you have to know your neighborhoods, you have to know your market, you have to know what's going on there when you're buying. So if your strategy is, it's like, for example, we have Tampa, we have St. Pete. 2-bedroom in St. Pete are so, people will rent to 2 bedrooms in Quickness in St. Pete and pay $900 for it. In Tampa, not so much. Not so much. And then in St. Pete too, then you can look at some neighborhoods in South St. Pete, even North St. Pete. You're going to have a harder time in Tampa to rent a frame property to somebody here in Tampa than you are in St. Pete. A lot of the investors and some of even homeowners, they do want block properties too, but they don't make a big fuss about it like people do here. So, and also too, let's say you are buying a property that you can rent out Section 8. Here's the thing. If I might pay less for that property in St. Pete than I do here in Tampa, but I'm collecting the same amount of rent. So I'm making more return on my money there than I am here. Okay, so it's just stuff for you to think about, but at the same time too, when you look at your own situation, you have to say, am I willing to drive all the way out to St. Pete for a rental property? When I first started, I bought a house in close to Dade City. If I realized, Sandy, maybe you shouldn't have done that. Because I don't like to drive like that, right? So that's what I'm saying. You have to look at yourself. What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? And if you don't like to do it and there's a real opportunity there, that's fine. See if you can find somebody to do that for you. That's leverage. You can leverage other people's money, other people's time, other people's experience. You can leverage in this business, okay? So if we'll move forward to private lending, right? Private money lending. That's another way you can, generate cash flow for yourself. If you have money stashed away or collecting no money at the bank at all, if you have money in your IRA, you can be the lender. You can be the bank. You have investors all the time that are buying houses and rehabbing, there are even shorter term investments you can make with certain people where, they're just trying to do one transaction, just like I'm telling you about one of those wholesale deals. So with private lending, making 8, 10, 12, whatever it is that you end up negotiating with your investor, you want to set your criteria. If you got $30, $40, $50, $60,000 or more sitting aside collecting dust, then you can collect some money, make some real money in real estate. So that's just another avenue, right? Okay. And then also too, one thing you might want to think about, if you have that kind of money, you can partner with people. Find somebody who has experience. Partner with them on your deals. The only thing is you have to make sure you do, we call that your due diligence. You have to really go into, do your due diligence, okay? Now, on the rehabbing part, and I've done a lot of rehab in my days, okay? Rehabbing is fun. I'm a chick. I don't pick up no hammer. You can't see me pick it up. I be dropping the hammer on my toes. Like, okay, Sandy, that was not a good idea to do that because sometimes I'm a little silly and I go in there and I tell my guys, well, let me try that. Right? But anyways, when you're rehabbing, that's your opportunity right there. Whatever those desks you guys have, that you're talking about. How much? Well, you don't have to tell me how much it is. You don't have to tell me how much it is. But here's the thing, you can rehab, you can make 20, 30, 40, depending on the deal. You can do 1 or 2 of those and pay off your debts, Of course, you'll talk to your accountant about whatever tax issues that you have to take care of. But you can make your chunk of money and you can get rid of your debt, okay? But the thing is, when you're rehabbing a property, one of the most important things you have to look at is who are you going to sell that property to? Right? Because when it comes to figuring out the repairs that needs to be done to that property, and you're estimating that cost, you need to know who you're going to sell to, because that means that, well, you don't have to replace the cabinets. If you're going to sell that property to a landlord, you have some landlords that they like to buy turnkey properties. You know, and somebody like me, I'll be like, well, why? Because I can fix it myself, right? It's because if I'm fixing it, I'm going to sell it to you for more than if I'm selling to you as is, you know? So, but there are some people that don't want that headache. Again, know how you are. That's perfectly fine as long as your numbers work, right? So know who you're going to sell that property to, because you don't want to overdo it. A lot of people overdo it, and they think that they're going to get that money back, and it just does not work like that. It doesn't work like that. People will tell you, well, I just added, some new floors. I think it's worth $20,000 more. No, it doesn't. You can take the floor out. Like seriously, people are not going to tell you that, but they're probably thinking it. Yeah, so know who you're going to sell that property to. Now, when it comes to the numbers, and you have to, and you're looking at a property you wanting to buy, the whole saying in real estate is you make the money when you buy it, right? Not when you sell it. So as an investor, and even on the wholesale end too, I'll tell you too about that, how you even look at those numbers. But as an investor, right, when you're looking at a property, you're rehabbing and you're going to retail it to the end buyer is actually going to move in there like a homeowner, right? So what you want to do is you never want to go at more than 70%. And technically, really, I'd say lower, but that's, the average industry will tell you about that. So you don't want to go over 70%. So for example, let's, keep the number simple. If the property you're buying, if you can only sell it at $100,000 once you're done fixing it up, so that 70% will put you at $70,000, right? It'll put you at $70,000, and say that if that property needs $20,000 to get fixed up, so you're going to deduct that from the $70,000. So how do you know it needs $20,000? What you're going to do is, especially if you've never rehabbed a property before, you're going to get 3 contractors. You're going to walk through the entire property with them, and their stuff, if you're new, you're probably not going to even notice it, but they'll point it out, take notes. They'll point it out, take notes. And you know what you do? You ask them, well, how much is that going to be? And then so you can compare, right? You can compare. And then one thing that I do, because sometimes contractors, they like to pay for the materials, right? And then they add the material and labor together. Yeah, don't do that. I don't. You find out the labor costs separately, because sometimes they're overcharging you for stuff, right? But get your estimates from different contractors, because that's how you're gonna know exactly that. You do that before you buy the property, not after, before you make your offer. That has to be done beforehand, because you have to make sure you're buying that property at the right price, right? And so if the property, if it's gonna cost you $20,000, so now you're gonna deduct $20,000 from the cost. But here's something: a lot of people stop there. They said, okay, 70% of the $100,000 that I can sell it for is $70,000, right? And then I'm gonna deduct 20. And my profit is this. Well, no, it's not, because if you did not negotiate your closing costs to be paid, you got to pay for that. So you got to take that out of there. And then a lot of people don't think about, well, you're going to finish rehabbing it and you're going to have to sell it. So you have costs there. You take it into consideration. If you can try selling it yourself, but sometimes that just doesn't go that well, and you may have to pay commission to get rid of it, right? And depending on who you're selling the property to, they may need help with closing costs. You want to keep all of that into consideration, because you want to have an upper advantage when it comes time to selling it, okay? So what you always want to do, you want to leave enough room. So you work your numbers, and that will tell you if you're paying the right price for that property. And here's the thing with rehabs: there's always some unexpected. It'd be out of nowhere, like, what the hell? Really? Like, seriously, there's unexpected. So, you hope that it doesn't happen, but you have to prepare just in case. Because that means that either it's going to cost you extra money or it's going to cost you extra time, which is still costing you extra money, right? And if it's costing you extra money for every day that property is sitting there, it's costing you money because there's holding cost. Here's some checks from some rehabs that I did. I think I have another one back there, right? Okay. So basically, I pretty much covered the 4, and I probably went over time. I don't know.
We have about 4 to 5 more minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, that's all I can cover right now. But here's the thing. Real estate, really, you have a big opportunity to pay off your debt. Because when I first started, I had some student loan debts and I had some credit card debts. And it's because of those deals I was able to pay them off. I really was able to pay them off because I had done some of those deals. So you have a big opportunity, and you decide if you want to do it full time. You decide if you want to do it part time. But whatever it is, you just make sure you get the right people on your team. Okay, and there's another team of people, another thing that goes in between that you need to have together to get those deals done. But make sure you have the right people in place before you get started. Know your stuff, do your due diligence. Whatever you don't know, get some expert to help you. Okay? Because whatever it is that you want to do, that extra vacation you want to take, that extra time you want to have with your children, you can create that extra time. If you just do 1 or 2 deals and make $5,000 extra on a wholesale deal, what would that do for you? Okay? And that's not that hard to do, because you hear a lot of people talking about, well, the market is this and the market is that. But what happens I never go through those things, but that what's that day after Thanksgiving? Black Friday, right? What the heck do those people do? Because it'd be a huge sale, right? And they run over each other. So why the hell, when it comes to real estate, people are tripping because the prices are low? There's a sale, now the market is coming back, but when, there's a sale anywhere else, you run and, you go for that opportunity, but when it comes to stuff like that can actually really do something for you and change your life, people want to listen to the wrong, you have to be careful who you listen to. When you're taking advice, be careful, because there's a lot of people out there that'll give you a one-size-fit-all type of advice. You can't take a one-size-fit-all type of advice, because you wake up at a different time. Sometimes you wake up a different person. Right? So if somebody don't even ask you for your information, what's going on with you, and they're so quick to give you advice, I would think twice about what they have to say to me. So I mean, there's the thing, because, for me, that's real estate has done a lot for me. Actually, it really has. It's giving me the opportunity to follow my own passion. I'm working on a book called Unleash Your Crazy. In the next 90 days, I'll have it come out because, we all have this passion inside of us. We have things that we want to do. But then you got a lot of people talking in your ear saying, well, you're even crazy for thinking about that idea. Well, that's fine. Unleash it. Be who you are. Do what you want to do for a change. Life is not promised. So be yourself. Do yourself. Embrace yourself. Okay? And then you have complete control of everything. So if you want to get rid of your debt, do a deal. Do 2 deals. Figure out what it is that you need to do. Okay? I have a form back there. If you guys want a personal strategy session with me, just fill it out, and I'll see what I can do for you. That's my time. Thank you.